This is a meeting of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. It's a work session for the Guam Power Authority. We have several things to go through, but I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Jennifer Sablan, our acting general manager, our legal counsel, Marian Wolowich. Wolowich. Okay, I'm sorry. Our CFO, John Kim, and our other legal counsel, Teresa I forget. Rojas. Yeah, I know you're married. I keep thinking of it. For the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Martinez, and Commissioner Santos. We have 3 commissioners. We have a quorum. Jen, I see that there are some issues for decision. There's a resolution.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that first.
Yes.
Okay. The floor is yours.
Okay, sir. So we are not going to discuss resolution 24-17. We're going to table that, sir. We're not ready.
You're not ready for that? What is that resolution?
So this is regarding the amendment for the energy conversion agreement with Guam Ukuru. We were waiting for some lender review, and so we haven't been able to review the document fully to provide for you yet.
Okay. And legal's involved, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so go to the other resolution.
So the next resolution, sir, is Resolution 2024-18. This is regarding the authorizing for the approval of a bond issuance to refund outstanding revenue bonds. One of the strategies that we have been looking at is reducing debt service payments between the Bank of Guam, Gpa, and Guam Power. This is an opportunity to go that way, and we are looking for your approval to pursue this. And
Okay.
if you don't mind, I'd like to refer or defer questions to John
To
Kim.
Okay, John,
Thank you.
tell us, give us the rundown. Why is this a good deal?
Yes. If you look at the PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. Yes. So the last year the interest rates were going up, but however, in the last November, December,
This
the
is page
interest
6, right?
yes,
Okay.
the interest has been going down. With this, create an opportunity, possibility to refund the 2014 revenue bonds.
Okay.
Currently, the outstanding bonds is about $65 million. So if you look in the second page, so the Federal Reserve Funds rates has been decreasing. This is from Bloomberg. They're predicting by the earliest we can do the refunding is in July, around July 5. From there, we see that rate will be decreasing a lot more. So there's an opportunity for us, but to get that rate, we have to be prepared. We need to get all the approvals done.
Unlike GWA, who has the ability to do refunding
Yes.
of bonds without going to the legislature,
Yes.
GPA still has that covenant in that part of their law that says they have to go back.
Yes, yes, we do have to get legislature approval.
Yeah.
First, we have to get the CC approval.
Well, you have to get CCU and PUC, both
approval.
of you.
Yes,
But the legislature is one more hurdle for GPA.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So we're asking for authorization to petition the legislature.
John, I have a simple question.
Yes.
You know, because maybe our public needs to know this too. When you do a refunding of an existing bond, how many times can you refund it?
The bond has, when you do the bond, there's an option called callable. Most callable bonds are usually 10 years.
Okay.
Once the 10-year mark, you are allowed to refund it. So the 2014 will be refundable in 2024.
Got it.
Because we elected an option to have a callable bond.
Okay. But you don't refund again a second time, like the earlier bonds, you're not,
Yeah, the earlier bonds has been
Refunded?
refunded and diffused. So this 2014 is a new bond, so
Okay.
they could call it and reissue a
Okay.
new bond.
okay, good.
I think they call it
Commissioner,
tender and
What-
cancel.
Well, so what's the savings, John?
So the following pages, and one more page. The way this is from Bank of America. They did an analysis. Currently, if they redo the refunding, they're looking at about cash saving of about $4.5 million
Okay.
and about 7.6% savings.
Savings, okay.
If you look in the second page, on the following page, if you do a net present value, they're looking about $3.9 million savings and about 6.6 percentage savings. From annual cash flow savings, we're looking about close to $300,000 savings a year.
Yeah, so in other words, what you're going to do is reduce your debt service debt service
Yes.
payments
Yes.
for the remainder
Yes.
of the bond swipe.
Yes.
And you're saving $300,000 a year, which helps your cash flow
Yes. Help us with the cash flow and also our debt service.
and debt service coverage.
Yes.
Okay? Any questions?
So, we have draft legislation prepared?
Yes, I have we've been going back and forth with ORIC. I have a draft resolution, reviewing it. I'll have it ready for the next board meeting. I'll upload it to the board books.
So
For
for Tuesday,
Tuesday.
there's gonna be a vote?
Yes.
Okay.
For this coming Tuesday, John?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
got it.
I'll upload the wording for the legislation.
Sure.
Yes, okay, the proposed legislation.
Yeah, proposed
That's what we need.
legislation, yes.
Okay,
Bond council is doing that, right?
Yes, bond councils, we've been going back and forth
okay.
on the wordings,
Okay.
make sure we have this correct.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just one question, John. So you see the trend going down?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Last year, if you look at the graph, it was pretty high in the middle of the year. But as November and December came, the interest rate was going down. The Fed interest rate, and the Bloomberg is predicting that's going to go further by the end of this year, and the following year.
So is now the best time to do it, or could you wait another year to go down another?
No, when we also talked to other underwriters, they're thinking that the call date is between July and September. If you miss that deadline, the demand for people to buy might be not there. So the best time is still in between July and September.
Okay. Commissioner
What is
Schwank.
our, any updates on our ratings?
Oh, it's still the same?
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Yes.
And are we gonna do any prior to this, or we're gonna lock in what we've already been given for our ratings?
Yes. We will be we will be doing a rating.
Analysis together with this again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, so it's the normal process that we go through?
Yes. Before we do the bond refunding, we usually go to the rating agency for
Yeah.
presentation. Yes.
Okay, so that's
Okay.
it. So I'm just curious, so you go to page 11, so our current structure will be CCU, then the draft legislation, and then finally the PUC?
yeah. John,
John,
Yes.
I mean, what,
the order of approval.
Yes.
What Commissioner?
Normally, what we do, we get CCC approval, and once you approve it, we give it to PUC. But most of the time, we see in PUC, we just kind of notify them. PUC will say, "Hey, you need to get
Legislative
legislation
approval,
first."
okay.
Yeah.
That's
PUC
good.
is the last stop.
Yes.
In the approval process, we're the first, we start the ball rolling.
So once you get the legislature approval, then we just send it back to PUC.
In fact, I gotta tell you, one time, Senator Joe S. San Augustine, when they were questioning the legislation, the legislative committee, and he said, look, they don't get PUC approval, doesn't go anywhere, so we just approve this, and it's up to the PUC. Okay?
yeah, I don't want history to repeat itself on GPA.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, the former oversight chair neglected it and it cost us
yes, yes,
severely.
yes.
So we
Yes.
gotta put that on the record when we go there, say, don't procrastinate this time.
Yeah,
Okay, because it cost us dearly to do this, and we'll remind that former senator that you're responsible for some of this stuff. And
yeah.
there's an opportunity for us to save the ratepayers some money, so, yeah, hopefully they listen this time.
Okay,
Okay?
any other questions? No, that's it. Hey, Jen, is there anything else? No.
Did you want me to go over any of the GM updates?
What I wanted to do, Mr. Chairman, is
Sure.
just to, yes, we want to baptize you, Jen, on GM reports, but I think the issue that, for me personally, is is talk to us about our current generation capacity, because
Yeah,
that's
where
always
are
in the
we?
minds of all our people, right? It's,
Yeah.
you guys have a fancy term, UFSL, or whatever you guys call it.
Under frequency
Yeah,
load
no,
shedding.
in plain Tamarian, Tennessee language, load shedding.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not confuse them about this under frequency stuff.
That's good for you professional
Okay,
engineers.
I don't,
And I can explain the
yeah, the
difference.
issue, yes, the issue for us is, when are we gonna load shed, how long is it
How
gonna
are we
be,
doing, John?
and who's affected, right?
Okay, go
That's
ahead.
really the issue for us. So, yeah, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, that's really
Slide
what
10, real
we
quick.
need to be.
Let's inform our public, all right,
Right.
here. Go ahead, Jen.
Go ahead, Jen.
Sorry, I just want to show you where we're at and what we're projecting for March. And it's just this one slide. So, we are, as of today, our peak for the month is only 223. Last month, we were at 231. And we are just following the trend of last year because, you know, we aren't too far away. I mean, we just had some maybe cooler weather.
Yeah, well, we've been lucky, right? Yeah.
But we are expecting to go back up to 231 in March. With all of our units online, we're about 272 megawatts. The projected demand we're seeing for March is about 233. That leaves us with a 39 megawatt reserve. We had 16 megawatts between the ILP, which is our partners with the commercial and hospitals and some of the government agencies that are providing generator service and taking them offline when we need them. There's about 16 megawatts, and including Navy, using the Arodi plant. But this month, we were able to work with our ESS O&M contractor, and now we have about 4 megawatts for 3
the
hours
batteries.
that we're adding. So last month, we had 16 ILP support. I'm saying we have 20 now because of the additional 4. So right now we have 59 megawatts of reserve. And that's assuming that we get all of the ILP online, there's no issues with Rody, things like that.
Nothing falls down. Okay.
Yeah. So
Jen,
this is
let's
just-
explain for our ratepayers that storage, that help from the storage is the batteries at Mumum
Talafofos.
or the batteries at Taufofo.
So the batteries at Talafofo are used to basically manage the intermittency we get from solar. So every time there's cloud cover, there's this ramp we have to deal with, and it's faster for the batteries to do that than our units can.
Yes.
So that happens during the day, and so about 3 o'clock we turn over that operation. We charge that battery up because normally it's within a 50% charge to adjust discharging and charging as the solar
The
ramps.
intermittency.
Yes, so we charge it up to 90%, so by 5 o'clock, we're ready to discharge it if and when we need it.
And how much
And
can
we
you
don't
discharge?
call it all the time, because that actually affects the life of the battery.
Right.
But we're trying to use it when we need it, kind of more of a last resort,
Okay.
so that we avoid load shedding.
What about the batteries at Mumum?
So those batteries are different types of batteries, and right now they operate 24/7. They're actually dealing with the frequency issues that we have on the grid, as opposed to what Talafofo was doing. It was really just a daytime function, and that was just for the solar ramping. So now we're able to use it at night for shifting.
The one in Taufofo.
Yes.
But the one in Mumum, you can't use that.
Well, we use it already. It's serving a purpose to address frequency issues. So it's addressing if there's any dips in the system, if we have any trips. It actually provides some reserve, and it really depends on what the charge of the battery is at the time.
Got it.
So it is providing somewhat of a spinning reserve, but it's dependent on what its charge is at the time because it's fluctuating with the grid.
Okay. Now, I think what would be very helpful, Jennifer, is if you went down and you identified the various machines that you have in generation and how much you're getting out of them. For example, Cabarrus 1 and 2, you're not getting 66 megawatts out of those anymore.
No, we're not, sir.
So I'd like to see a schedule that shows you how much you get out of these units. For example, Cabarrus 1 and 2 is one. I think you run them at about 35 to 40 megawatts.
Yes, and we kind of addressed it in one of the presentation slides.
Okay, so I would appreciate it if you went through that at Tuesday's meeting.
Okay.
Or, yeah, what we need to do is identify so people understand, and also the age of these units, you know, so they understand. I don't know if you can rank them from units that are maybe your better units to your older, going on the way out units. I've been trying to explain to people that we have a lot of units that are going to go away. Not because we just don't like them, but because they're old and they're going to take themselves offline. Cabras 1 and 2 are good examples of that. We used to run them. I think they were rated at originally 62 megawatts.
66, sir.
Or 66. Okay, I got it right the first time, right?
You did.
66, and we've been running them at 50, 45, because we start bursting boiler tubes.
Yes.
We're now running them at 35 to 40. Eventually, you know, that's going to get worse and worse with the boiler tubes, okay? And it doesn't pay to redo all those boiler tubes again. It doesn't make economic sense. These units are old, they're on the way out. So I want people to understand, these units are going to go. It's not a question of are they going to go. They're going. They're going to go out.
Well, they have to, sir, under
No,
the
no, no,
consent decree too.
but also, they will take themselves offline at some point, and you're gonna say, okay, that's it, we're done, okay? And then I need to know about 8 and 9, because those are the only two other base load units you have, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Did you want me to go through the rest of the GM report?
no,
No?
no. We'll look at it, John, and if we have any other
Yeah,
questions. Yeah,
But I do have,
Go ahead.
John, give us an update. I just looked over our AR. Please follow up our friends at GDOE. It's quite hard.
yes, John, you and Tulling have to remember that that's a monthly thing. You have to keep on top of that,
Yeah,
okay?
look at it, and
Okay.
it's a little bit too high.
Yeah, and, you know, we all want to help our ratepayers with the program, whatever that's called, but we better make sure they put aside money for DOE, okay? That they have to pay. Okay, that's it?
If you don't want me to.
No. It's on, we're gonna read it, and if we have a question on Tuesday, Commissioner Santos is not gonna be here on Tuesday night,
So
I
you're
don't think.
good.
But Senator Sanchez will be.
Yeah.
Believe me, he will have questions. But Commissioner Martinez, are you gonna be here? On
Yes.
Tuesday? Okay, you, me, and Senator
And
Sanchez will
Mr.
be here.
Benedetti will be here.
And Mr. Benavente, you'll be very happy. Okay. Okay, so now you have an update on what is your update?
The Clean Energy Master Plan.
Okay, bring the microphone close to you. It's on? It should have a light. There you go.
So we're on
Okay.
page 165, Mr.
Page 165
of board books.
of board books. And you have 5 copies? Okay. Good.
Okay, next. Okay, those are the volumes in the Clean Energy Master Plan. It's fairly comprehensive, the work that we did. All right, next.
Just real quick, John, updating from what year?
2021 was
Was
when
the
we
last time?
submitted,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the Clean Energy Master Plan focus, right, is in the areas of affordability transformation, customer experience transformation, grid transformation, foundational infrastructure, and digital transformation. Okay. Next. It's a long agenda. I'll skip that. Okay.
Give us the highlights.
So first of all, national laboratories partnerships. Since 2021, I've reached out to the national labs and asked them for support. And they're pretty much part of this new Clean Energy Master Plan update process. Okay, so we have Sandia, NREL, Argonne, and Pacific Northwest National Laboratories are all doing currently work for us. Next. Some of the stuff that we are currently doing and have recently completed, right, are going into this update. There's the ETIP technical assessment with Sandia, which is really taking a look at large solar facilities on the distribution side. The Guam 100, which is a comprehensive study to look at how we should or how we could go to 100%, 50 and 100%.
Renewable. 100% renewable,
Yes, on renewables, yes.
okay?
And in the end, non-greenhouse gas emissions generation.
Okay.
So I include that.
You're talking about hydrocarbons?
I'm talking things like
right.
hydrogen,
Hydrogen, okay,
right, other things. Okay, not solar.
okay.
Okay, Hanwha, they have a system impact study, and that's folded into everything that we do for clean energy master plan. Phase 4 system impact studies, synchronous condenser sizing study. That's a very seminal discussion study. It shows that where you put a synchronous condenser to help with the stability of the grid really depends on where you put in the solar PV and batteries.
Okay.
And there's a big difference in how much you would need versus the siting of the synchronous condensers. We're currently, GPA is a subcontractor to Black & Veatch on doing a transmission study geared to solve problems for the military buildup. There's a grid controller system design which is currently ongoing. And that's to provide the system that will help mitigate and provide resiliency and stability for the grid. It's going to be basically an autonomous control system for the grid. The ITC microgrid study, we've taken a look at how we could integrate and use the ITC, the International Trade Center. They have a facility that they're going to build that has solar PV, generation, and batteries, and there's some relevancy to actually using it to help support grid functions like backup the FHP clinic. The JFK solar PV study, we're currently doing that. They have a 2.75 megawatt array, and we said we need to do some studies to figure out what their impact is and how to correct it next.
Yeah, just a
Quick
minute,
question,
John.
John. Why is that taking so long?
Which one?
JFK.
JFK?
They've had that up now for almost 2 years. They lost some damage, so what is going on here at GPA that it's taking so long for us to come up?
Well, they've recently put in the study. It's completed, I think. I'm getting a copy of it.
Okay, John.
What does that mean?
John, wait a minute. No,
Yes.
that's not the question. Answer the question, Senator Santos. Senator Santos wants to know,
Okay.
I mean, Commissioner Santos. just to-
Initially, there was some friction. They didn't want to do it.
I don't want to know
Okay.
that. I just
All right.
want to know, I heard that a study was being conducted.
Yes.
If it's done, it's done, okay?
Yeah.
Then what happens, right? Because they've been waiting for this, and, you know, they're trying to help reduce a power bill at JFK, okay, which is critical to their cash flow. Hurts us a little bit, but I'm ashamed when I meet these people, and they said, the ball's in your court, and it is in our court.
Yeah.
Why is it taking so long?
Well, there was the big malware issue, so we delayed
John,
it.
John,
Yes.
John, please, no. That was before malware. I know
Yes,
that.
I know that.
Why is a typhoon going to delay a study?
John.
I'm being honest.
No, wait,
Well,
wait,
well,
I need
Is
to,
it, okay, wait, let me make it clear. This is not
We
your
had to
fault.
have, we just had to have people there that would help that study go along and provide information and stuff, and they
Okay.
were
It was
all on the field.
outsourced, right? This is
It
outsourced.
was
to
outsourced, but they
contractors.
still need information from us.
From who?
From GPA needs to provide information on the feeder loadings, on other things like
okay,
that.
can I just
Yeah.
interrupt so that?
But
I'm-
you're right, and, you know,
Okay.
I'm gonna own it, I'm gonna say, yeah, I apologize for that. All right?
John, when that project was done, did they talk to GPA ahead of doing that project and coordinate?
Not initially, no.
Okay, so that's it. We need to be very clear here, okay? We need to be very clear. Somebody pulled a trigger and did something.
Yes.
and put up a solar array on JFK and did not contact GPA, did not talk to GPA about how they're going to put that in the system. And 2.7 megawatts is a huge amount. You just don't plug it into the grid. So that needs, like our solar farms, you need to be able to put a system where you transmit that power into a grid. That was not done. There was no study to do that. There was no coordination with GPA. Now that they came to you and they started to do a study, who's supposed to do the study?
Okay, they're supposed to do it with us, and we contacted a third party. It took a while for the third party to get on board.
Okay, so
But-
there was a delay because they did not get a hold of us early in the game, and therefore, now we've got a third party on board to help us. This is something that you do, like for example, with the marble plant. The marble plant, as they were building it out, you were working with them on a study on how to integrate that huge amount of power that was coming into the system. Okay? So now you have a study. That's the point. Where are you with the study?
Yes.
Tell us where you are.
I'm getting a final draft this week,
Okay,
and then we will review it, and then we will,
okay. You need to put that in plain English. What does that mean? When you say you're getting a final draft of the study, that doesn't mean anything to the ratepayer out there or to us. So you're getting a final draft of a study that will detail.
it will identify any issues that the system has on the grid, and then any ameliorations that need to be done to make sure that the grid is made whole.
Okay, so there may be a few steps yet left that you have to do with the grid to accept this kind of power? Is that correct?
That's what the study scope is.
That's what the study of scope is. So that study, you're almost done with it, because I'm very sensitive to who did what. So you're almost done with the study, working with them, finally, to do that study. And when you're done with that, are you done with the study?
It is being reviewed by us,
Okay,
right? And then after the review, then they will make changes according to what our comments
If
are.
changes.
If changes, yeah. I mean, there've been some questions, there've been minor questions, but mainly on methodology and stuff like that, so.
okay, but there will be need to do some upgrades to the grid in that area?
Yeah, they may, okay? I haven't
Okay.
read it, the final document.
Okay, so that's the point. I want to make sure people are clear on this.
Yeah,
Just because we did a study doesn't mean it's over. It means that the study identified, okay, the grid has to be improved in this area to accept this kind of power. Now, traditionally, who pays for that? With Marble, who paid for that?
Study.
No, not the study, but the implementation. In other words, the improvements to the grid. Who pays for that?
that was paid for by the KEPCO.
At Marble, okay.
Yes.
So it's the guy who's putting the solar in, he's the one who pays to upgrade the grid to accept this solar.
That's correct. And
Okay.
then if the cost is too much, they are allowed to get out. Retire, say, I can't do this, it's too costly for
No,
me.
no. So the cost is borne by the provider of the solar. I want to make sure people understand that. That's the way this works. They didn't come to us in the beginning. They didn't work with us, and now we're working with them, but they have to be the one, if it requires an upgrade of the transmission system in that area,
This is distribution, so.
or whatever they need to upgrade, that is not borne by GPA. That is borne by the provider of the solar. Okay? Okay, just so we understand. Because I'm all for, listen, here's my problem. I'm all for trying to save DOE money. But we can't get money from our ratepayers to help DOE pay for this. In other words, somebody came up with a great idea, let's put solar up, went off without talking to us, and I'm going to be very clear here, okay? I'm really upset, and I'll tell you why I'm upset. Because when DOE first started down this road, the legislature passed a law I talked to John Fernandez, who was superintendent at the time. I made several approaches to him, said, let's sit down, let's talk about how you're going to do this so we do it the right way. He never responded to me. Never responded to me. I then had John Beneventi, the general manager, write him several emails. Several emails. He never responded again. We said, we'll come and sit with you. We'll talk to you. We explained this process. Never talked to us. Never talked to us at all. And then when Senator Joe S. San Augustine asked him in a public hearing, isn't GPA helping you? He didn't say a word. He kind of skirted the issue. And I'm tired of that. I'm really pissed with that. I'm not running anymore, so I don't give a damn. I'm going to tell you, I blame him. I blame him and his people. Okay? And somebody jumped the gun and said, oh, let's just do it. And they did it. And it sat on their roof. And I know the frustration of some people that, hey, that should have come in, and that should be saving DOE some money. Yes, it should. But there's a right way to do it, and they did it the wrong way. Okay, so I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so now, John, what we need to know, I'm with Commissioner Santos, I'm with him on this. What I need to know is, are you going to be done with all that you need to do so that you can turn to this party, whoever they are, that put the solar in, and say, these are the remaining steps you must do, so that they can get to work on doing what they have to do? When?
Well, I still need to review it.
No, John, I'm asking you for a timeline. You don't need to tell me. I want an approximate timeline. I'm not going to shoot you if you don't meet the timeline. But I need to know a timeline. We need to be able to tell the public and our legislative.
I think it's far long enough that maybe at the end of March that we should be.
So by the end of March, you should have.
Full timeline.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we need to know, because people are asking us. People are asking us, and I'm really tired of this. You know, I'm sorry. This is on me. Don't blame the CCU. Blame Joey Duenas, because I reached out to John Fernandez on several occasions. I spoke with him personally. I said, John, you know my number. Call me anytime. We'll come running. I told him I'd bring John Beneventi. We'll sit down with you, or whoever you want to sit down, to help you do this. And he never called back. So I want the legislature to know that, okay? And I've kept my mouth shut because nobody ever brought this up again. And as far as nobody brought it up, but now we're bringing it up, they want to hook it in. Good for them. There's still a cost that whoever put this system in, whoever their contractor is, there's still a cost that they might have to bear. I just want that to be known. Okay? That's the way we do it. Okay, and I'm very sorry for taking up our time.
No, I think
I apologize.
The other thing that you need to stress, Mr. Chairman, to the general public, right, is that our current policy/law is 1 megawatts. Anything beyond that needs to come to the CCU and GPA. So I'm not sure, you know, I know these people personally when this was coming up. I said, look, we know for a fact you did not come to talk to us. So that being said, I'm okay. Let's move forward. Okay? And I'm glad, John, that you've given us a timeline for GPA to complete the review of its study and then at least inform CCU and the vendor, okay, this is the plan moving forward.
And what you need to do.
My next question now is all the other renewable projects that are being planned. Okay, you just mentioned our friends at ITC. They're doing.
They reached out to us.
Good. Okay, that's the dialogue. That's the collaboration. That's the partnership that we need to stress to any future, whether it's government or private, that you just can't go out there and put solar panels on your properties. Okay, especially if it's going to affect the grid. Okay, it's similar to the discussion we had, colleagues, on our rooftop vendors.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been down that road before.
There is a limit.
Right. So now we need, it's incumbent on us to make sure that we properly educate our partners in this. That any kind of plan moving forward needs the collaboration with our team, and our team should be out there proactively looking at this. Once you know of a project, John, go get them. Go
Yes.
talk to them. Let's not be waiting here for the engineering plans and all this. That doesn't look like a good
Yeah, I agree
partnership
with
on
you.
our side.
I agree
Let's
with
go out to them and say, okay, we're gonna work with you on this. Most importantly, because battery is now required. Okay, and that, I mean, I'm looking at the sites where you're gonna do this. It's gonna be interesting to see where ITC is gonna put battery backup for that size.
Is
They're
there,
presenting at their conference.
Those are all good, John, okay? It's us here, GPA, John Beneventi, John Cruz. What are we doing?
we have to be proactive.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I don't want this, oh, we're waiting for you guys. I know what GDOE is trying to do. Fortunately for us, in this particular situation, it's a leaseback school. Okay, so they have a different relationship that we have to deal with. But when the other 36 schools start talking to us about solar, because we want to reduce our $14 million power bill, okay, to help them, okay, John Beneventi and yourself already said, you just can't go put solar rooftop on all these schools. It's not going to work that way. Because we know that the infrastructure
You
in
can't
the
plug it in.
schools, the electrical is not ready to handle this kind of stuff. We know that.
And our
You've
grid.
done the study. You did that one study on, was it Carbolito where we helped them? And fortunately, that worked, John. But you can't guarantee that for schools that are 50 years old.
Yes.
So
So,
I'm asking you, please, John, as
So-
we move down the road on this one, let's make sure we work with these. I mean, everybody's for this. We want to reduce the, our dependency.
We want to help them.
Right. But help them.
so I reached out to Dr. Swanson,
Okay?
Good.
and he did reply.
Okay,
Good.
So we
good.
are
That's a
scheduling
step in the
a
right
meeting.
direction.
Right.
When I come back, we're scheduling a meeting
Okay.
the week I come back.
And
For the
John,
record, just make sure that's documented, okay? 'Cause
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my friends at GDOE are terrible. I was there, John, I know, we're terrible at documenting. Okay, what you have to do is, thank you very much, Superintendent Swanson, for the record, here it is. Okay, so when we go before the legislature, we're just say, hey, we
Yeah.
did our job. Okay,
Yeah.
don't just plan, don't. Fortunately, John, we are the subject matter experts on this. Okay, you, our team right here. Okay, you're not gonna take a GDOE deputy superintendent or the superintendent to tell us how to put solar energy on their schools. Okay, that's GPA's responsibility. And let's take that because we have to help, unfortunately, we have to help them,
Yes.
Okay.
okay? And
I
I'm-
want to help.
Oh, no, we
Okay,
have to.
okay.
Yeah, so-
I have one final point.
Good,
I have
yeah.
one final point. John, I want to make sure that when we finish this project with JFK, I want to show what their cost savings are. In other words, rooftop solar, their savings are great. All they do is they don't get a bill, which means every other ratepayer subsidizes them. In this case, somebody's going to be paying that solar provider. It's not us. It's going to be DOE who pays them and hopefully gets a reduction in their power bill in the process. Okay? I want to make sure people understand that. We don't pay these people. It's a lease school, so the lease school will get a payment. But hopefully they get a payment and the payment they get will be less than if JFK paid for their power bill. Okay? So I want that documented. Okay? I want to show the people of Guam and our ratepayers, because whenever somebody gets a gain somewhere, somebody else loses. Okay? We have ratepayer money. This doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to me or the 5 commissioners or the people at GPA. It belongs to the ratepayer. And I want to make sure we do justice for all the ratepayers. Okay? So I need to know how that project shakes out. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Santos, do you have any other
No,
questions?
no,
I think
no,
we're
that's the
done.
whole thing. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, and again,
Okay,
we
I'm
don't
sorry.
want to belabor Conroe, okay? Because
Yeah.
that PUC just approved that.
Sure.
That's a different discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
So, John, where are we now? Keep going forward.
Yeah, go. The Guam Energy Security Plan. Next. So the federal government issued a legislation that requires that the state or territory submit a state energy security plan.
Okay.
If that document is not provided, then that entity, state or territory will lose the ability to get some federal funding for projects.
Okay.
Okay, for instance, the funding for the Guam Energy Office
Okay.
and some of the infrastructure and all that other
So this is-
those grants that are out there.
So this is a study that's required so that we're up to par and we meet the requirements so that when we apply for federal
Yes,
grants,
yes.
they'll say yes. Okay.
Yes. So the initial draft plan was due September 2023, or September 30. So we put it in there.
So you
Right?
met the deadline.
Yeah, and then, and then the federal government, the Department of Energy, had to review it and then come back with, on comments on what needed to get done in addition, in improving the document. Okay, so there were 6 areas, topic areas, that were required.
Okay, real quick.
There was, the 4th topic area happens to be with interdependencies on all the energy sectors. And there was very little guidance on it. So we did as much as we could answer to that specific guidelines, which were fairly meager. And then that's the only one that the DOE said, everything else is complete and we like it, right? This item number 4, you've partially met what we think are the requirements, and now they've given us further guidance on what that is. And so we will submit the updated plan on September 30th, 2024.
2024, okay.
All right, next. Yeah, just keep on going. Go back. Okay. When we did this Guam Energy Security Plan, we were going to include a cyber piece,
Okay.
right? And that wasn't required, but we started working on it anyway. And later on in the life of this thing, the federal government came back and said, you will need to put in some cybersecurity information.
Okay.
So as part of our submittal, right, we will have a confidential, not publicly distributed annex for cybersecurity for the energy sectors.
Okay.
Not just GPA, but other things that affect GPA and other things that affect energy. All right, next. Phase 4, renewable energy acquisition. Next. There are 11 projects. Right?
Okay.
There are, in total, there are 333 megawatts of projects.
Okay.
Some of them had requested that they provide projects in the distribution system, like the Guam International Country Club,
Okay.
for example.
What are they proposing?
Yeah, so that was a late amendment based on questions that some of the proponents had. Okay, there is one 115 kV. KEPCO is bidding a 132 megawatt project, and that's on the 115 kV. Right?
Okay.
Stay on page 177. This proposal by the country club people, that's, who's that going before? Because that's Chamorro Land Trust property.
Yeah, they proposed it, right? And we didn't ask any further questions then.
Yeah, they're responsible for everything behind the.
Right.
We just buy the power. Okay, so now I want to clarify something. That 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th column in that says first year price per megawatt is 150 is for the first one, 179, is that million or 1,000?
17.9 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get at, John.
Yeah.
If you're looking at this column, what that says is the first proposer, the first bidder, Mojave Marianas LLC, is proposing 60 megawatts. Am I correct?
Yep,
And their price is 15 cents a kilowatt hour.
yep,
And what we do is we pay them 15 cents, they put everything in.
that's right.
They put in the connection into the system and everything. We don't do a darn thing.
And they pay the ameliorations.
They pay everything, and they also have to deliver 60 megawatts.
Yes.
Okay. All right. See, I want to make sure people understand this. This is very important because you're talking 15 cents for a 60 megawatt project. I want to put it in perspective. The KEPCO project at Marble is 8.5 cents. Okay? So this is almost double that price. Just to show, and the reason why I'm interested in showing that is because if this project gets protested and goes like 2 years, like the NG project did, which was supposed to be on military land, we had a deal. It was for 12.5 cents, but it was to charge batteries to discharge at night. Does this first project for 60 megawatts, does that have a provision to do that, or is this just like the KEPCO?
So it's a requirement that half of the energy, right, be stored in a battery for nighttime dispatch.
Okay.
Or elsewhere in dispatch.
Okay, so that's good. So this is a very important project because the rest of the other projects, how come what are these numbers, 4.9? That's 4.9 megawatts for the next project?
Yes.
Okay, so all the other projects are rather small, except for Power Solutions, whatever their name is.
Yeah, there's Cortec, Mojave, which is,
Cortec is,
Dan.
okay, Cortec is another 60 megawatt project.
Yes, and then the 132 from
From
KEPCO.
KEPCO, okay.
And then the 226.4 megawatt is at 34.5.
Okay.
And then the rest are small business.
But note how much we're going to pay, how much their proposal is for us to pay them per kilowatt hour.
That's right.
And we have to use that because, and let me explain the difference, and you need to put this down somewhere. The importance here is we're looking at these projects to reduce the cost of oil, that darn LEAC, okay? Now, we want to reduce the cost of LEAC. And John Beneventi set a target of 15 cents a kilowatt hour for any project to make it, because then we're saving money on LEAC. Right now, John Kim, what's the price for the LEAC right now? 26 cents. So if we can cut the number of barrels we buy at 26 cents and instead buy power from these big solar farms at 8.5 cents or at 12.5 cents, that's what you're telling me, right, for the first one, Mojave? Or 15 cents.
Yes.
You can buy that power, then you're not paying the 26 cents for the oil.
That's right.
And eventually, that's how we save money for our ratepayers.
Yes.
That's very important to know, because it's not just putting on solar. You have to put on solar that's going to be very efficient and bring down the LEAC,
That's right.
okay?
And stabilize it.
And stable, and it has to be stable, it has to be stabilized. So that's an important part. And that's why I want you to make sure that when the JFK project takes off, we know what the price on that is. Because it better be below
15 cents.
18 cents, 15 cents, or, you know, these other projects are all at 17.9 cents. That's not a cheap project. Those are high projects. I mean, if you want to save the ratepayers, and that was the goal. But because of the protest law that we currently have, we lost out on the 12.5 cents. If we lose out on these projects, the 15 cents, and, you know, for the big ones, boy, then our ratepayers have to know they're going to suffer, because that LEAC is going to be on their backs for the rest of their lives. We need to get these projects, and we need to get it so they can't make a protest and tie them up for 2 years. When we go back to the vendor, they'll say, yeah, 2 years ago I could have bought all those solar panels. 2 years ago I could have bought those batteries. 2 years ago I could have put in the connection that I have to pay for into the grid. And 2 years later, I can't do it for that price. And they go away, and there's nothing we can do about it because it's our fault, because we allow a stay. Anybody can protest. Do they win the protest? They lose the protest? They pay no penalty, but they cost the ratepayers money.
Tens of millions of dollars.
Tens of millions of dollars. Okay, moving right along.
Wait, walk us through this, okay? Because I'm now,
Okay.
piqued my interest. If you look at the small projects, the second one there, a PEC and LMS, is a 5 megawatt solar farm, right? That's the proposal. Near Harmon Substation.
Okay.
That's us up there in the north?
Yes.
Who is this solar farm gonna benefit?
I mean, it's gonna benefit, we're buying this,
No, no, John, we haven't bought anything.
Yeah.
We haven't approved this project,
that's right.
right? Who is this particular one gonna benefit? There's no homes around the Harmon substation.
It'll be connected to
To the
the
grid.
substation.
It's gonna go
And then
to
the
the grid.
substation, it'll go out to the transmission.
To everybody.
Okay, so how do we take, there's 3 projects that they're talking about.
In different locations.
Yeah, actually 4. They have 4 5 megawatt projects that they're planning, right?
Okay.
The second one is Lot B, 3RM again. Where's that?
Well,
Do you have any, I mean, the other ones are pretty obvious, near Leo Palace, near Radio Barragata. Cortec, I can tell you that's their, well, we're gonna have a dispute there, Mr. Chairman. We don't know who owns that property yet.
Okay.
Okay, but that's a huge 60 megawatt. How much, okay, plain English to us, a 5 megawatt solar farm takes up how much land? Fortunately, I'm sure this is their land, right? It's private property.
They must already have
Yeah.
either
So I
lease
mean,
or an
give me an
option.
idea.
so,
5 acres, it's
it
an
was,
acre?
it's 26 and a half megawatts over 150 acres.
Acres, 2 acres.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank
this
you.
is,
That gives
this
us
is,
an idea.
yeah, this gives us an idea. This is all their property. This is their problem. They have to secure it and everything.
Yep.
To me, the most important part to me is the price,
Yes.
you know, because I see almost a uniform price,
For some reason,
17.9.
But I guess, Mr. Chairman, none of this has come to us yet.
No. This is still in the process of being reviewed.
Okay.
And they have to make sure that the people are ready to plug into the system. But my only concern, and I'm going to ask our attorneys again, you got to come up with some draft legislation that works. I haven't, the legislation's bogged down in the legislature, and to me, listen, here's the problem. We're buying kilowatt hours, okay? We're not buying a bucket truck. So if we're buying a bucket truck, somebody can say, hey, no, my bucket truck's better than that bucket truck, and they can protest it. But we're buying kilowatt hours. A kilowatt hour is a kilowatt hour is a kilowatt hour. We're not buying the solar panels behind that. We're not buying the batteries, so we don't care which solar panel they use. We don't care which battery they use. That's all their business. They have to deliver the 60 megawatts or the 5 megawatts. They have to deliver that to us, and we're buying a kilowatt hour. So I'm really having a problem with how can somebody protest that? We should put in something that says you can't protest these projects. It's only on price. We're not buying a bucket truck. We're not buying what else can we're not buying a vac truck or the specifications for the bucket truck said it has to be an electric lift on the back, a diesel motor. Fine, but these projects were only buying kilowatt hours, and a kilowatt hour is a kilowatt hour. It's the same thing.
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into this whole thing.
Sure.
You know,
I'm sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 potential vendors. As far as I can tell, only one of them is quote unquote qualified to be a solar energy provider, if you want to use that proper word. I've never heard of Mojave Marianas.
They're Dan.
Okay, good. So that's because history has already taught us a lesson, John. Okay? Hanwha made a promise to GPA and the people. And, you know, we blessed it one more time. Okay, unfortunately, I didn't plus it. That's okay with me. But what are we doing to verify from our end as the buyer, Mr. Chairman, I should call
Of
us,
the kilowatt hours.
that these potential bidders, or whatever you want to call them, can actually do this? I don't want a Hanwha repeat, that they're going to come in here and promise us 60 megawatts of power, solar energy renewable, with that, come back 2 years later and says, please forgive me, I can't do this, but give me 2 more years and you're not taking away my $4 million.
Okay,
So again, those are the other things. What are we doing at our end to do our due diligence? Okay, because that's on us, right? To make sure that these, whoever you want to call them, solar energy providers are for real.
Well, they had to include in their financials and stuff. And
John,
yes.
we
And
approve
there is-
Hanwha, John. Let me repeat, okay? We, GPA and CCU gave approval for Hanwha. Have they delivered 55 megawatts of solar power, John? Answer me.
They didn't.
Right.
Yes.
So what's the guarantee that you're gonna tell me when 5 different vendors are gonna come in here and say, we wanna do this because you guys need to reach your 100% renewable? We're not gonna make that same mistake, John. If I'm sitting here, no way.
okay,
Absolutely no way I'm gonna allow a vendor who has no experience putting solar energy to come here. I mean, that's a fly-by-night operator, John. No way. Not on the backs of our ratepayers. That's the due diligence I'm asking you to please do. Again, I mean, we're living one right now, John, Hanwha, and then our friends at JFK,
Yes.
okay? To go out there, they're not asking us for permission, they're asking us for forgiveness. Okay, we don't practice that way. Not this CCU.
yeah.
Okay,
And-
I'd rather see that you sink your project, okay, and start all over.
Okay,
Because we're all business people here. Our business is the ratepayers' business, and they want us to make the right decision for them. This is 5 big projects I'm looking at here, with the promise that, you know, we're gonna help the ratepayer. Again, I'm asking you, with your team, do your due diligence when you come back, you know, to the CCU and says, we need your blessing on these projects. Because they all, I mean, I thought the Guam International Country Club was dead. Because you still need permission from the legislature to turn that lease over and ask the Chamorro Land Trust to turn that project into a solar farm. You know, I mean, and Joey's right, that's not our business.
It's not our
We're
business, but-
But I think what they're doing is they're asking us, CCU/GPA, to, hey, bless this because we want that kind of investment to go on Chamorro Land Trust property.
and so therefore, that's a good point.
Yeah, they're
Commissioner
asking us to be-
Santos, and really, I would tell legal at GPA that they have to come up and verify all these things. So as we go forward, that idea of do they own the property or do they have the right to use that property, that has to be part of the discussion, Marianne. And the bid was put out and everybody had to comply with certain things. I'm hoping that we did a good job where they understood they had to connect to the grid. That it was their responsibility and they had to pay for it, okay? There has to be no mistake about that. And as you go through the negotiations with them, you have to say, now you really understand, right? You're gonna pay for this. And you have to deliver. We need to be assured that you have all your ducks in a row. That you own the land or have a lease on the land or have access to the land. That's a good point about the Country Club of the Pacific, because that is Chamorro Land Trust land. And so therefore, whoever that vendor is has to show you a lease, a document that says they have the right to use that for the next. Now, these are the terms here are 20 years or 25 years?
25 years.
25 years. Okay? That's all. Once they show us that, they either own it outright or whatever, then that's, but they have to have those, that has to be done so that we don't run into a problem where, oh, wait, we have a little hiccup. No hiccup. We just tell, if they have a hiccup, we just tell them, fine, then you're gone. And whatever they put down as their bid bond or whatever, goes to GPA to the ratepayers. It helps us with the ratepayers, okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, next. We need to do the system impact studies.
For-
right? Before we can proceed with any type of award.
okay.
Meaning
And
those
that,
ones that you just mentioned.
Yeah, these.
for all of them.
For all of
Okay,
them.
good,
Okay,
good.
good.
Because this is
And
definitely-
for the ones on the distribution side, the system impact study is going to be more complicated and involved. There's a lot of other things that you need to consider among those 6 bullets.
Okay.
Okay, that's all you need to know. I mean, it gets pretty
No.
gritty.
Who pays for that study?
They do.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay?
Everybody's got to be on the same footing. If
Okay.
one pays for the study, everybody pays for the study.
Yep.
That's the way the bid was written, right?
Yep.
I hope.
So,
Let me, I mean, John,
yes.
okay, I'm reading these things, so any improvements that we make to our feeder systems and distribution systems, those are all borne by the developer,
Yes.
correct? Okay, just want to be clear, because you're, I mean, there's a new word I'm hearing here now, black start capability. That's a new one.
Well, it's a grid following, it's a grid forming inverter. That,
It's technical.
Yeah,
John,
yeah,
we don't need
okay.
to know.
Yeah,
We
but
just
I'm
want to
telling
know
you,
that they
John,
can deliver the kilowatt hour
yes.
Okay, again, fine.
at that price.
Okay, so next one. So in the bid, there was a, we asked for DC coupled versus AC coupled systems, but
Yeah.
internally,
Okay.
right? And for us, it's just a special case if it's AC coupled, then you need to make sure that if the battery trips, right? Then you need to immediately curtail the solar PV
Okay.
because it
On
will,
their
it will
side.
overload.
Yeah.
Yes. And new innovation for this bid, benefit system stability.
Okay.
And there've been some studies for Kauai and Maui that grid following inverters stabilize their grids, right? Especially when in the cases of low or no inertia. Okay, so we'll address that in these following, in the system impact studies, the Guam 100, and we need to make sure that we get accurate inverter models, electromagnetic transient, just get, there's a model that they need to provide. Next. Okay, this was the star of the last territorial climate infrastructure. I thought it was going to be our renewables, it ended up being our fiber network.
Okay.
Next.
John, real quick on the fiber network, explain, or are you going to explain that now?
The what?
What the fiber, the GPA fiber optic communications network,
Yes.
is that just a one page or?
No, I got others behind.
Oh, you're going to explain it?
Yes.
Okay, explain.
So we put in this thing for a couple of reasons. For relay protection initially, because when we got circuits from the carriers, they weren't reliable. And so we end up, the relay, yeah, okay, all right. And so it's to save money, it's to make sure that we have really reliable communications. There's a cyber security aspect that we want every one of our substations to be totally within our grid so that we can have one point of entry into the external network. And then if there's anything monitoring that, and we think there's an attack, we can cut it off.
Okay.
Right? And that actually, I discussed this with Mark Hadley. He's a chief cyber guy for Pacific Northwest National Laboratories. And he said that's actually what he recommends to all the Baltic states that he visited.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, can you
so
explain to me?
Go ahead, Joy, I'm just
Go.
looking at this, we're at page 102.
This is 182.
So these are 14 these are 14 sites, John?
These are 14 substations that are on our fiber.
Okay, good, okay.
Okay, originally at the beginning of last year there were 7.
Okay, now we're up to 14.
Yes.
Okay, what's the difference?
And
in the
Melvin
color?
says, Melvin added one more, and I
That's fine. Why is Dedido, Marble, and Jigo?
can't hear you.
Blue. Or,
Why are they highlighted in blue? Are they
Why?
up and running?
Those are just recent,
Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good.
okay?
Okay. How many substations do we have total?
The what?
How many substations are there in GPA's system?
I think the 31.
Jenny?
Yeah.
That we GPA.
Yeah, but they're like joint use.
So 17 more to go.
Yeah.
Okay, good, so we're halfway there.
Okay, so we have a Route 17 fiber swap. Okay, GWA built this conduit for us.
Where's Route 17?
Route 17 Cross Island Road.
Okay.
Okay, it goes from Baza Garden. There's like a little wastewater
agate.
treatment thing over there. Goes all the way up to the Agate Santa Rita wastewater treatment
new
plant.
one.
Yes. So we have a swap with a carrier. They're going to fill, they have 2 empty conduits in here. They're gonna fill one conduit and then they're gonna provide us other stuff as trade.
The carrier.
Yes.
How do you bid that out
Bid it out?
to the carrier?
How did that arrangement come
Right.
to pass?
Okay, we had an RFP,
Okay.
right? But also, this one is an MOU.
Between,
GPA and IT&E.
Okay. Now, John, this is a good one to show our ratepayers. This is an underground tube, right?
Yes,
And there's more than one?
yes.
And we run fiber in here for
So it's
GPA.
empty,
Yeah,
and so we're saying, do you want to use you want to use the conduit to fill it with fiber? And they said, yes, we do. And they
Okay.
said, okay, we want to trade for this.
okay.
Okay,
the
so,
trade is what value?
they're done on a construction and length and fiber basis. There's no cash. So we're getting this free,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, now,
You know, in exchange for the use of it.
so this is underground and this is our fiber. Now, when you run fiber for GPA,
Yes.
it doesn't get connected to anybody else.
That's right.
It's strictly in-house.